Hello, today we're going to focus on reading line plots. In this problem, Ms. Finnegan asked each student 10 social studies questions. For each question answered correctly, she would award the student 1 point. The line plot below shows the scores. So notice here is my line plot, here is my axis, and it's labeled score. The scores students got were 0, 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 10. Notice 10 represents that they got 10 questions correct or 10 points. If a student scored a 6, that means they got 6 out of the 10 questions correct. So it's always important first to read the problem and see what this line plot means, because every line plot given to you can have a different meaning depending on the labels of the axis and what the questions are asking. Now notice each X here represents each individual student. So this student here scored a 0. This student here scored a 3 out of 10. That means they only got 3 questions correctly. And notice here, many students here scored an 8 out of 10. How many students? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Each X represents the students, and this here, the title, Social Studies Review Game Scores. So these are the scores from the Social Studies Review game. Now, in today's activities, we're going to use this line plot to help us answer a series of questions. Now here again is the line plot. The question says how many students earned exactly 6 points. So our goal here is first to figure out where on this line plot represents 6 points. So I'm going to look at my axis here and I'm going to find 6. This 6 represents a score of 6 points, and they asked exactly 6 points. So therefore I'm going to count the number of X's I see above 6. 1, 2, 3. And those X's actually represent students. So we have 3 students scored exactly 6 points. In this next question, it says how many students earned less than 6 points. So notice it's less than 6 points. So that means these students could score a 5, a 4, a 3, a 2, a 1, or a 0. So now we need to count all the X's I see in this region. So here I have 1, 2 students, 3 students, 4 students. So my answer here, how many students earned less than 6 points, would be 4 students. This question says, Ms. Finnegan awarded a gold star sticker to each student who earned more than 6 points. How many gold star stickers did she hand out? More than 6 points, so that's greater than 6. That means you can have 7, 8, 9, or 10 points. So now what I'm going to do is count that region and determine how many students earned more than 6 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the answer here would be 9 students. And notice I'm counting the X's to represent how many students earned more than 6 points. Here it asks how many students answered exactly 2 questions incorrectly. Now, immediately, if you hear 2 and you think they scored a 2, notice there's no X's above 2. And also that's misinterpreting the question. The question says how many students answered exactly 2 questions incorrectly. So that means they only got 2 wrong. So if it's out of 10 points and you got 2 wrong, you'd be left with 8 questions that you did answer correctly, and you answered 2 questions incorrectly. So what we need to do here to answer this question accurately, we need to look to see where you see a score of 8, because that 8 represents they answered 8 correct and 2 questions incorrectly. And if I look at 8, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 students, or 5 X's. Each X represents 1 student, showing me that 5 students answered exactly 2 questions incorrectly. So sometimes you need to really read that question more than once to help you determine how are you going to find that answer. And here it says how many students answered 3 or more questions incorrectly. So again, this is the same process as that previous problem. So how many students answered 3 or more questions incorrectly. So that means they scored maybe a 60, a 50, a 40, or notice here they got 6 out of 10. So that's showing me they got 6 questions correct and 4 incorrect. And they're asking answered 3 or more questions incorrectly. So that means if they got a 6 out of 10, that qualifies that question. That's saying that's correct. They got 6 correct, 4 incorrect. 5, if they scored a 5, that's showing me I got 5 incorrect and 5 correct, so we can count the 5. And notice no one has 4, but same for 3. That's showing me I answered 3 correct and 7 incorrect. And same with 0, they got no answers correct. They're all incorrect answers. So now I need to count all the X's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is showing that the answer here is 7 students. Now again, how many students answered 3 or more questions incorrectly? And that's showing me that 7 students did that. So notice again, you're kind of taking another look and rereading that question to make sure you're interpreting it correctly before answering your question. And here it says how many students played the social studies review game. So now, as a reminder, each X here represents 1 student. We need to count all the X's that we see on this line plot to find the total amount of students that participated in the social studies review game. So now as we count the X's, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So now we have a total of 16 students that played the review game. Now today, as you're completing the problems, you will be reading line plots and answering questions with a given line plot. As a reminder, you can refer back to this video at any time, and I highly recommend that you reread some of these problems, take a look at the given line plot, read the axes, read what's labeled to help you answer the questions.